Okay, what we have here is a 14-inch jet bandsaw. These are pretty ubiquitous. I think the Delta and Grizzly, some of the other ones are very similar design. And the problem I have, as you can see, I've disassembled it about halfway. But the problem I had was with blade tracking. And you can see I've got basically the biggest blade that you could use on these. The blade kept wanting to come off on this way, and it kept, for example, kept hitting the guard. You can see where it's cut into the edge here. Kept trying to put the tracking back. Now, the way that works is, as the blade, as the wheel tilts like this, the blade wants to come off to this side, so you need to straighten it back out. There's an adjustment on the back, of course, that you use, but I found that that was no longer working for me. Did a little search, and it turns out that the parts you need is this. It may not be a surprise, but I was unable to find any videos as to how to replace this. This little piece here is the A100019. This actually is considerably better than the part it replaces. I had to really destroy it, but you can see from here, these are zinc. They added a lot more material in there on both sides. The older one basically, as you can see, it's got a curve to it. That's not what you wanted. You don't want a curved part. It really needs to be straight. So once you have the part, and once you have this piece like this, you basically put it like so, and you put these pins back in. They just tap in, they stay in there, and you're good to go. You can reinstall everything. But there's two things that I kind of wanted to point out in terms of disassembly. The first was, obviously, after I pulled the wheel off, you can see I didn't actually have to remove this upper blade guard in order to get the adjustment assembly out, but I did have to really loosen it up, and then you basically have to kind of wobble this back and forth until you can. So you have to get this far enough out that you can actually get the assembly out, especially when that one piece is bent. But that's probably not the real big issue. The real big issue is when this piece is installed in like this, you need to be able to get these pins out, but there isn't any good way to go in there and grab them. So what I ended up having to do, so I use this a Dremel Sawmax with a metal cutting blade, and I basically had to go in here and cut them here, because what you don't see is that these pins only go so far, so you have to cut it basically fairly close to this shoulder here. In fact, I don't know that my parts, these original parts didn't actually, no, they did show the shoulder. Unfortunately, I cut one a little close, and so you can see I actually nicked one of these pins. This one here must be the one that I actually was okay on. This one, you can see actually there's no shoulder there like there is on this one. So this must be the one where I went just a bit too far and nicked the pin. But you can see that's probably only about a 1/16 or so that I took off, so that should be fine. But basically, when this is in here, I did all sorts of things to try to get this out. There's a little pressed pin in there. I cut it a couple different ways, trying to somehow get that out. And after about 40 minutes, like I said, I first broke this part off here. That didn't work. I could still move it around. Started to cut into this here. It wasn't until basically I took this tool like so. Let's see if you can see that. So basically came in like so and cut it really close on those shoulders, and then was able to finally break this off. In order to get that off, you basically, even if you cut this side all the way through, you still can't get this out. You basically have to cut both sides all the way through. And so I guess in hindsight, I still would have had to remove this portion here. But once you get this in, obviously these pins go back in and you're back in business. Hopefully this beefier part is not going to have the same fatigue or creep that the original part experienced. Anyways, any questions, comments, put them in the bottom of the video, and thanks for watching.